Well, a brand new report suggests that an NFC East team will try and land Saquon Barkley this offseason after news surfaced that the Giants running back is not expected to return to New York. Eric Bienemey is now a free agent, but should the Eagles actually give him a call to join their offensive staff? And Deebo Samuel, he's at it again. He's getting ready for the Super Bowl, but he's also still thinking about Philadelphia. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. Now, if you thought that Jalen Hurts had a quote-unquote down year this past season, even though I guess he threw for more yards and touchdowns this year than in 2022, well, the rest of the world still really loves him, as he had the #1 highest-selling NFL jersey last year and this year in all of these states. Look at them all. I mean, literally, he had the highest-selling jersey for more states than Patrick Mahomes and any other player in the National Football League. Also, shout out to Alaska for loving them some Jalen Hurts. Now, I get it. Hurts wasn't perfect this past season. He turned the football over way too much. But if you're one of those people that's already jumping off the Jalen Hurts bandwagon, kind of like how we did with Carson Wentz, I guess rightfully so, before you see what he can do in Kellen Moore's new offensive system, all I ask is just to be patient, wait a little bit. I think Hurts is going to rebound and be probably considered a top 5 quarterback yet again in 2024. If you don't believe me, why don't you believe Adam Schefter, who went on The Fanatic this morning and basically admitted that the Birds, he's expecting them to be back to form this next season.
I think they're going to make a run.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. It seems like that's where most people were leaning yesterday.
Now, one thing I don't understand is why Deebo Samuel has to keep taking shots at the Eagles. Like, I get it, bro. You did great. You beat us this past season. You dominated us in Philadelphia, and now you're in a Super Bowl. Like, big congrats. Seriously. But when asked by a reporter at the Super Bowl media night just the other day, Deebo took his chance yet again to take one final shot at Philadelphia.
Do you still feel like that's a rivalry? I consider rivalries close games.
You know what, Deebo? You're right. I'm going to give it to you. Every time we play each other, it's not close. And that's not a rivalry because the game isn't close. And obviously you came to Philadelphia this past season and beat the brakes off of us to kind of start our skid. But didn't we beat the brakes off of you just like a year before in the NFC title game in a game that wasn't close? I guess Deebo's right in the end. Honestly, who are you guys rooting for in the Super Bowl? Like, I can't stand either team. I wish they could both lose. I guess I'll stick to cheering for Big Red just because he's Andy Reid and he's kind of linked to Philadelphia and he's only a likable person on Sunday afternoon. Either way, let me know who you guys are cheering for because I just can't stand these two teams. Okay, before we get back to today's show, my fiance and I, we're getting married on May 3rd, and I just booked our honeymoon. We're going to Europe, and with the sponsor of today's video, Surfshark, coming with us, we're going to have our entire catalog of Netflix shows, full web access, and also HBO Max TV shows as well. Now, Surfshark is a super awesome VPN. Comes in app form or also as a simple browser extension for your computer, and it lets you stay safe whether you're watching my latest Eagle video on public Wi-Fi or you just want help getting past those really pesky geo-blockers for content like Max when you're, say, in Europe on your honeymoon, like I'm going to be in Croatia, and you just want to relax after a long day and maybe Netflix and chill. Now, right now, I'm basically forcing my fiance to finish Game of Thrones because she started it and then she didn't want to finish it. By the time we get to our honeymoon, we're going to be on season 8, and as bad as it was for all you Game of Thrones lovers, I want to make sure we're able to watch it while we're in Europe, and if we didn't have Surfshark, it would not be possible. Now, of course, Surfshark is not just a VPN for watching Netflix while you're honeymooning in Europe. It's also a powerful antivirus, allows you to browse the web ad-free without a digital footprint, and my favorite part, it even generates a new online identity and a proxy email with their alternate ID tool. Now, viewers of my show, I guess you right now, can try Surfshark completely free for 3 months. They literally have a 3-month QR code that you scan, there it is, right down below me, or whenever you check out, use the promo code Mott, my last name, to go ahead and again, get 3 free months, all down below in the description box as well. Give it a try and stay safe on the web wherever you're browsing from. Now, speaking of Big Red and the coaches, the Commanders hired Dan Quinn to be their next head coach this week, but kind of in a surprising follow-up move, they hired Cliff Kingsbury to be their new offensive coordinator. Now, that alone is going to be a fascinating pairing for a team that has the #2 overall draft pick and a ton of cap space. But during Quinn's presser, he confirmed that Eric Bienemey will not be returning to the team, meaning that the offensive guru is a free agent and can sign anywhere. And that's led many people to speculate that Philadelphia should give a phone call to Eric Bienemey and see if he wants to come join Kellen Moore's offensive staff, which I'm definitely intrigued about. But at the same time, Eric Bienemey is a very interesting character that the NFL seemingly has rejected time and time again. Now, I don't know exactly why, but let's be honest here. Nobody wants to hire this guy. I mean, after being the OC in Kansas City during the Mahomes rise, you figured he would just bounce right into being one of the top coaching candidates in the entire league, and yet he's been passed on OC job after OC job and head coaching jobs galore. Does the league know something that we don't? Or maybe, I guess, Shady McCoy all those years ago was right when he hinted that players didn't really like him.
Me and the coordinator, we had a difference about different things, right? And I'm going to say this. It's the reason why every year they keep hyping him up to get a coaching job, a head coach or office coordinator job for everywhere else, and you don't get one because
he's talking about Eric Bienemey.
And the players.
You're bringing this up now when we got a minute.
I'm like, truth. Listen, because some players, right? He talks to them a certain way, and some players would take it. I wouldn't take it. Like, whoa, and some question I would ask. Everybody's accountable.
Yeah,
that's why it's not because he's a black coach. That's not the reason. The reason that because I won't get into that, but I'll say this. But it's the reason why that every year they hype him up to get a job, and then when the time comes, nobody hires him because they know what type of coach he really is.
I mean, is it fair that he could be an offensive genius, but also not really loved by his players? Again, I'm not in the locker room, so I really don't know. But look at what happened with Sean Desai and Brian Johnson during this coaching cycle. Just like Bieniemy, they both got interviews. Some got, head coaching interviews for Brian Johnson, yet no one wanted to hire them. Maybe like Eric Bieniemy, Desai and Johnson are just not considered to be good coaches, and NFL teams would rather try out younger, greener guys than double dip and try and make the same mistake twice. Either way, I'd at least give him a phone call and see if he'd be interested in joining the Eagles staff. Maybe he could be an offensive consultant, kind of like what the Eagles were doing over the past couple of seasons, at least reportedly with Frank Reich. Let me know what you guys think about EB maybe coming to Philadelphia down below. Now, I think the big story yesterday was a new report on Saquon Barkley saying that the Giants are not planning on tagging superstar running back Saquon Barkley, and he will hit the open market as a free agent in March per ESPN. Many teams are expected to pursue the two-time Pro Bowl back, including an NFC East team and the Chargers. Now, NFC East team is either the Cowboys or the Eagles because Washington's not really at a point where they want to spend big on a free agent running back, being that they're the number 2 overall draft pick, and he's not going back to the Giants, so process of elimination means it's either Philadelphia or Dallas. Now, let's assume for a second it's us. It's Philadelphia. That would mean, one, that DeAndre Swift is out, which, I guess I'm fine with if you get a healthy Saquon Barkley. Barkley is a better back than Swift, but my biggest issue with this move has got to be the price. How much does he want in free agency? Last season, it took him till, the end of training camp to sign his $10 million franchise tag because he wanted even more money? If it's $10 million or more, I'm 100% out on Saquon Barkley. Philadelphia's problem last year was not that they didn't have a good running back. They did. It was more the fact they didn't use that running back enough, but the defense itself has way more holes and needs way more free agent money spent on it than the offense. Compare that with Howie Roseman turning down paying an experienced vet like Miles Sanders last offseason when Miles only wanted $6 million a year, and the odds of Saquon being an Eagle are very, very slim. Now, Saquon wants to come to Philadelphia for, say, $4 to $5 million a year and accept the fact that running backs are devalued and he wants to just go win a chip and prove everybody wrong. Great, sign me up. Like I said, I think he's way better than DeAndre Swift. He's a top 3 running back when healthy in this league. But if it's 10, 11, 12, even $8 million a year, there's really no way Howie Roseman pulls that trigger, right? I guess while we're at it, in terms of overall moves Philadelphia could make, we keep talking about this whole Patrick Surtain coming to Philadelphia because we got his defensive coordinator formerly, or his head coach formerly, or even now his DB coach. Well, how about Bleacher Report dropping this mock trade for Patrick Surtain that would have Philadelphia sending a first rounder, a 5th rounder, and Josh Sweat to Denver for PS2. Honestly, I'm curious where you guys are at on this. I don't hate it. Sweat's a good player. I think he fell off a little bit last season, and with good pass rushers kind of being a dime a dozen these days compared to good cornerbacks, which are super rare unicorns, I take this move. The problem is Surtain comes with a hefty contract, so much like Barkley, I think Howie would probably prefer to go a little bit cheaper in free agency or just get a brand new young player and roll the dice on a first-round draft pick who you get 4 years on a rookie deal versus having to pay PS2 what he undoubtedly deserves as one of the best cornerbacks in the league. Now, again, it's all crazy speculation. Doesn't mean Philadelphia is going to call Denver. Denver reportedly had multiple offers from the Eagles and the 49ers during the NFL trade deadline, turned them down, and have said multiple times this offseason, we're not trading Patrick Surtain. If I was Denver, if there was one cornerstone in my franchise that I would not want to let go, it's not Russell Wilson. I'd trade him in a heartbeat. It would have to be the superstar shutdown corner because they're just so darn rare in the National Football League. But if they want to just blow everything up, get multiple first-round draft picks, make that trade up to go get Caleb Williams or Drake May or, Jaden Daniels, whatever they want in terms of a quarterback, they could use the Eagles' additional first-round draft pick, and shipping PS2 off to Philadelphia could make some sense. Either way, both of these moves seem very, very unlikely to me. I do think the Eagles are going to make a big splash in free agency, maybe a Jalen Johnson, for instance, but I think the main goal here, at least for Howie Roseman, is to hit on the draft for back-to-back seasons and hope and pray that your second-year guys like Sidney Brown off the ACL, Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, the rest of these guys are going to go ahead and pop, at least Jordan Davis in year 3, but pop here when they get into the next upcoming season. That way Philadelphia doesn't have to go as crazy in terms of making a bunch of trades in order to get back to a Super Bowl. So we have plenty more stuff happening the next couple of days and weeks, including tonight. tape, our Wednesday link live, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Do not be late for that one. Myself and Josh Davis, every single Wednesday, we break down all the latest Eagles news. We'll talk Kelsey possibly retiring or maybe coming back, all the Patrick Surtain trade stuff that I just mentioned, and a whole bunch more in a live setting where you guys can not only interact and ask questions, but we answer as many as possible. It's a ton of fun. If you've not jumped in on that, be sure to go ahead and do that. We're going to do it tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. I'm Thomas Mott, hanging out on a Wednesday. This has been The Thomas Mott Show.